Greetings, one and all. This is Copy Who, and I am you know who. I am Paul, the producer. I'm your host. That's what I'm here doing. I have a little sort of warm-up ritual before I start where I'm like, am I going to do a good show? We're going to do a good show, so even if no one ever watches, when people do finally come along and watch, they'll be like, hey, this is pretty good. And so I started getting silly, and it wasn't on camera, and I was like, wait. We're not wasting the good stuff for before we hit the record button, are we? That's sort of like what we're doing. Okay, you know what? One of the things here, I have this mic stand here. I like this mic stand. This is what I was thinking about this mic stand earlier today. So I see all these guys, they have these $300, $500 mic stands. I think I could get one of these, something very much like this off of Amazon for like 25, 30, 35 bucks, something like that. And it's one I got from Guitar Center, I think, a long time ago, but something very comparable I could get off of Amazon. And the point I'm bringing this up is I see all kinds of other guys doing shows, and they invest in these $300 or $500 arms, and I'm like, well, I could do that, but I don't know how it's going to work before I actually get it here and try it with this table. Does it fasten onto the table? Do I have to drill a hole into the table, which I don't necessarily want to do? And here's what I like about this one, the simplicity of it, being able to just move it around, plop it over there. Like when I'm done, I could do that probably with a proper arm, just move it out all the way over to here when I'm still working on this computer in front of me doing stuff. But I like, a lot of times I'm seeing it on here and it actually helps me have good posture when I'm doing this. So I feel alert, look good, feel good, do good. Physiology equals psychology. That's not mine. That's Tony Robbins. And so it keeps me sitting up straight. I like that about it, that it keeps me sitting up straight. I had an incident a few minutes ago before I had lunch, actually. A very good lunch. I had another egg sandwich, which I flavored a little bit differently because I had this wipe-on sauce from Freddy's steak burgers, and it's this yummy thing that's like a mix of ketchup and jalapeno flavor, and so that was delicious on my thing today. Usually I put just ketchup on it because that's what I have around, but today it had the jalapeno flavor, and I was like, yeah, that's really good. And I left the salami off of it. Maybe I should do a video about how I make a I always bring it up, my super stellar egg sandwiches. Lately, ever since I've been hearing eggs are going to go away forever and we won't have eggs, I'm like, I'm going to eat some eggs before life gets miserable and we can't have a lot of the things I enjoy. Ergo, last night, I went and got some carnitas because I'm like, carnitas is another one of those things I'm hearing is going to go away. So I ordered carnitas and went and picked them up, and I actually went over and ate them with my mom because my dad's day on Friday is the day he drives up to the casino and plays some poker video games and stuff like that. And boy, were they good carnitas. I can't complain about the carnitas. Soon they'll have the spike protein, and it's like I'll probably be eating the spike protein because I'm just going to eat carnitas until they're gone from society. Makes me really fucking mad that they're sticking that shit inside of our food. Doesn't it make you mad? I know it makes me mad. I don't think they should have any fucking right to do that. It's one of the things bothering me. But alas, I shall move on from that topic. I like to update you about a few things. I got 2 nights of good sleep in a row after the last show I did. I mentioned that I had a shitty, poor nights of sleep. I even got a little irritable during that show, and it wasn't even fair the reasons I was getting irritable. It's just that I was irritable because I was short on sleep and dwelling on parasites who are incessant about their ideology, and they can't just let a father be a father. That's all. Anyway, that's revealing too much information. I am very well rested today. I'm grateful for that. Every time I get a good night of sleep, I'm like, oh, thank God. It seems like something about the CBD supplement that I've been taking has been helping me sleep better. And I'm going to keep up with that routine, taking this CBD as long as I can. As long as I'm sleeping nicely, I'm going to do that. This morning I got up and I worked out. And I worked out to Ryan Stone's Red Morning, and I noticed that I just went at lunch to start playing it from the beginning when I was cooking my world famous egg sandwich, and I noticed that it wasn't up there anymore. And I wondered now I'm wondering if like maybe I didn't properly load the YouTube and it was like, because it was on my TV in my kitchen. And I wonder if that wasn't up there because it was loading what was on there a few days ago, but it was saying things like he loaded up a clip and it looked like it was from today because he had, I think, a green light behind him. And it was a 30-minute clip. And I wondered if for any reason he cut out the live show and just deleted it or something. I don't know. But I enjoyed that. I'm on Saturday mornings. I'm trying to make it a point to be very disciplined on Fridays and Saturday mornings because there are very specific online shows that I watch. On Friday, I watch from PragerU. I watch the Fireside Chat with Dennis Prager because he spews a lot of wisdom. I agree with a great many things that man says, and I like him a lot. He's just a sweet, super wonderful man. And I also watch on Saturday morning. I watch Ryan Stone and his little. It's much bigger than what I'm doing here. It's just his nice. I'm calling it little just because, like, you know, he's not freaking the Tonight Show, but I like what he does, and a lot of people enjoy it, and he amuses me. He makes me laugh. He makes me giggle. All sorts of things he says. I don't necessarily agree with every aspect of what he says, but I also like the way his mind works when he explains things. During lunch, I was watching a clip with Rollo Tomassi. It was his live broadcast he had either yesterday or the day before yesterday. I think it was Thursday, so that would be like 48, somewhere almost 48 hours ago or something. And that was really good. I think he is like the master of his topic, and I can't touch him in that way, metaphorically, obviously. I have my own thoughts as a philosopher, as someone who's learned in my own way in life. I've been on my own path intellectually between school and the real life, putting the nose to the grindstone where the foot meets the road. In the real world, I've done that myself. All these silly phrases I'm using to come to my next point where just before I made lunch, something gnarly happened to me, and it's a sign that I need to clean the floors of my house. I was looking down in front of the couch in front of me on the wooden floor, and I was like, oh, there's just like a little bit of thread that came off of what this blanket I used to cover myself up. I thought it was just like a piece of lint or some thread from some kind of fabric I use. When I'm watching TV, I cozy up under a blanket and I'm like, so warm and I feel good. I feel like I'm in my mother's womb again. That deserves a boom. And so I reached down to pick up this gnarly little thing, and it winds up, it's a spider, but it's not alive. It's like dead. It's a spider corpse near my feet in front of me. And I'm like, oh, and I dropped it. Seriously, I like dropped it because I fucking hate spiders. The cold, spiders, certain snakes are all my kryptonite. Fucking hate those things. And so I was immediately like, oh gosh, it's been a while since I actually cleaned this floor. It's time to clean this floor. And I'm motivated now. Because I saw this big spider, I'm like, okay, they've had this habitat that hasn't been cleaned for a while. I need to come and sweep them all out. I need to exterminate them. And I'm not even going to send them to a camp. They're just dead on arrival. They're dead the second I see them. I fucking hate spiders. I'm not exaggerating. I am making it a little more entertaining when I explain that I fucking hate spiders. I truly fucking hate spiders. They are some of the worst things in the world, okay? I kind of keep thinking I want to have a pad in Florida. And when I tell my sister that, she's like, oh my God, the bugs, the creepy crawlers in Florida, the crocodiles. I'm like, dude, I think I would rather reckon with all those creepy crawler things in Florida where they are as a state politically than all of what's going wrong in here in fucking Colorado. The fuckery in Colorado is insane. The government fuckery is Colorado fucking insane. I want to know from someone in Florida. Do they have fucking sky spray in Florida all the time? I'm imagining they do because I'm thinking that I'm imagining they're doing it down there because I'm sure Florida, there's something about the manifestation of the politics in Florida, I shouldn't get into this right now, that I think are still conniving. Probably like the Fox News of state governance is Florida because it's like a lot of lip service while a lot of tyrannical things are still going on, while they're doing sort of pretending to do a lot of the right things. And I'm like, are they sort of baiting people to come there so that when all the people who really want to get out of these dead end fucking tyrannical blue states, they go to Florida and then bam, they'll nuke Florida and they'll get everyone. Everyone will all be concentrated in there because it's like an epicenter of maybe it's a masquerade of they're doing things correctly down there in certain respects, and so all these people will flock there and people will come in and so they're baiting people with the idea of freedom to go to Florida, and then boom, they will fucking drop a bomb on the ass of people. How about that? I'm insightful as fuck today. I'm just in that kind of mood. I was in the shower a short bit ago, and my mood's not too bad, but I was listening to AJ from IW. Some of you listening will know what I'm talking about. And I don't think the AI will necessarily go, oh yeah, there, I heard that. Quick, we know who he's talking about. I don't think the AI is that sophisticated yet. AJ from IW. And they will update it eventually if I keep doing that. And everyone keeps doing that. Because they'll pick up the new words. It'll be a neural net and it's learning everything and they fucking suck because of that. Anyhow, I was in the shower and I was listening to AJ from IW, and he's playing these interactions between people in public settings, between like parents talking at school board meetings and whatnot, and people talking, liberals talking about their agenda for how they're going to change society. And I'm not going to get specifically into what the topical matter was, but I was just like, I screamed out in the shower fucking loudly in this super mad temperamental state, like, what the fuck? Where the fuck are we? What the fuck is going on? And I fucking mean it, because society is in an extremely bad way now. People are utterly, totally fucked up. And so when I'm subtly referring to it like the super brainwashing of people, it's not subtle, it's overt. When I'm like putting this up in front of your face right here, this right here, that's what I'm talking about right here. 70 years ago, the blueprint to fucking fuck up the minds of people, vulnerable human beings. Human beings are vulnerable. No one is not vulnerable when they're in a position of being manipulated without any power. No one is free from the vulnerability of our lives and people, who we are and whatnot, and all that jazz. You know what I'm saying? I'm 12 minutes, 30 seconds in at this time, but seriously, I keep recommending this book. I highly recommend this book. And then, after you read it and you think about what's in here, you think about what's going on in society right now. What happens with mainstream media? What happens with cable news channels? What happens with your cell phone, Facebook, social media of all types that are very popular, TikTok, Instagram, all of them, everywhere, everyone's flocking, Twitter, all of them. How does that fuck your mind up? How does that rape your mind? Fucking read this book and give it some serious thought, because this is a great book right here. And I'm just going to keep it here because it's like my problem. I don't want to go, And sometimes I refer to Rollo Tomassi so often here that I should have all his books here so that when I refer to one of them, I put it up like in your face like that. Soon we will get to the rise. I just want to tell one more thing. I had a dream last night about a friend I had in junior high. I don't want to say him by name because he has an interesting story in his life, I think, and I hope he's okay. But he was a friend of mine. He was one of the best basketball players in my grade. He was certainly the first string player and the number one player in the school at that grade level. And later on, when he grew up, we always would joke about him being Michael Jordan someday, and me being his agent, and I would get him the good deals and whatnot. I recall joking like that. We were just ruthless in our math class. We used to pick on, we used to make the teacher so angry. One time he sent us in the back room and we were doing impressions of the teacher when we were locked in. We weren't locked in this closet, but we were told to stay there because we were disrupting the class. And we were just laughing our asses off in there so hard. I had so many good laughs with this particular individual for a duration of time in junior high there, and super talented. And later on, as he became an adult, he became a supremely troubled alcoholic. I even heard he became homeless at one point, and I would like to know what the update is on him. I would like to know if he's all right. And I have very few people I could ask about him who might know, and they're not even people I like, but they're people who I think would be kind enough to answer if I just inquired. But so I had a dream that I was reconnecting with him, that he was back living in his house nearby here, which his family's been long gone since, God, decades now. They're not in that same house they used to live in when I was in junior high. I had a dream I went there and that the mother was taking care of him and he was in really bad shape. And I had a dream that she was like, yeah, he's autistic now. And I'm like, autistic? He didn't seem like he was autistic then, but I do think he had a brother who was autistic or something along the lines of that, on the spectrum or something. I can't articulate clearly what it was, but I think it was something along those lines. And so in this dream, I dreamt that his mother was there, and then his mother was a foster parent to like a dozen kids in the household. And I don't even feel like describing each child to you, except that there was something disturbing about it. So when I was at their house, I was playing music, I was singing karaoke, and I was jamming vocals, and I was swearing to the music that was in the background. But in the meanwhile, everyone had left, and I was just like in this room doing it alone. And then the mother was coming in and saying, hey, I don't appreciate you swearing like that in front of all these children. And I'm like, you're right. I said I apologize. I couldn't help it because I just start jamming and all this stuff just comes out like here, like what I'm doing here. And so that's pretty much all that I have to say about that dream. But it impacted me a little emotionally because I thought of this person I haven't seen for a long time, who I recall really liking when I was younger. But I actually had to distance myself from him when I was about 16 because he was in a stage of being super annoying in that period. Even driving down the road in my car, he would be like mad if I stopped when a light turned red, if I parked far away from where we were going and I didn't park super close in a parking lot. He would be whining and bitching and moaning. And so he just got to be so overbearing at the time. But I still recall him. I think of him fondly, especially because of the laughs we shared, man. The laughs. I need a laugh track on here. I was going to play an applause, but that doesn't quite do it. So I'm moving on now. I think it's an appropriate time to come right in and do something that I have been wanting to do ever since I started this show today, but this is kind of like the order. I'm like wet with anticipation getting to this point because it's like, this is what gets me really pumped up. And so here we go right now, my lovey-doveys, and boom. Yep. Rise! That's right, here we are again. It's Guppy Who, and I'm your host, Paul, the producer. And I don't know what the fuck I'm doing today. All I know is that I fucking hate spiders. Fuck those spiders. If there's anything you want extinct in the world, it should be spiders. It should be poisonous fucking snakes. Fuck them, fuck all of them. Do you know what I'm saying? That's right. I am extremely happy I did that. I don't know what comes out. You never know what comes out when I'm doing this. Oh, dang you. That was almost perfect with turning. That was almost perfect. I have sort of a new way I'm doing this now because I've been bitching about the Elgato being the weak link in this process. And now I'm not even turning the Elgato off. I'm just leaving it on, and I think it's still pretty cool. I would, because I do like the dramatic effect of turning it off and getting in the super dark and having the flashing lights. But it's because Elgato sucks, and eventually this may evolve. It's never like got to be a permanent static thing. I do call it Rise, and I am copying so-and-so who does his own Rise, and I call it Rise too. Why not? Conan O'Brien had a Rise. You know who else had a rise? Jay Leno from The Tonight Show had a rise. And that was a mistake again, hitting that. I was going to hit the explode button there. But when you say Jay Leno, it's Jay Leno. Conan O'Brien. Much better. I just have to remember. So I was wishing that this thing here, this board that I'm using, you see how it has these 8 fucking pads here? So you can go to different banks. So when you go to the left, you get more banks. I think it has 32 different total effects in here that you can program into a pad. I wish this board were exactly like this, except that I could just extend it out to here and have them all available in front of me all at once, because I would just get used to that. And I suppose I could hook up an iPad to have something like that, where instead of using the pads on here, I would have an iPad. I might eventually have an iPad hooked up to this so that I can just access that for sounds instead. I also think that if eventually when I upgrade my system, I might use a stream deck, and that might give me the option to do a little more of that too. I might even have the ability to control the lights with the stream deck. Right now I'm using my phone, which is not reliable, because if someone calls right when I'm trying to do stuff, they might interrupt my flow. And as you guys saw the other day, I fucking hate it when motherfuckers interrupt my flow. I'm like, that ain't cool, yo. That ain't cool at all. And you know what we're going to do first and foremost, right here, right now. Right here, right now. Watching the world wake up to history. Oh, wow, there are a lot of these. Okay, so I have a clip from something called Buck Rogers in the 20th Century, and I'm going to bring you over to it here right now. And so there's a point to this, okay? I want to show you what happened to Buck in this episode. I'm going to zoom in on this, and we're going to reload it with sound right now, and we're going to watch this, and we're just going to,
So you remember those two satyrs who kidnapped Delph, and then they got into a fight with each other and got totally distracted? Well, there's still...
So this is what happened to Buck. He was on this weird planet, and this was in the second season, not my favorite season of that show. Buck went somewhere, and this dude who was a satyr, which is like this this flute-playing creature that becomes like half man, half creature with horns, it like bit Buck, and Buck started becoming a satyr. And this, I'm telling you, the point I'm making here, ladies and gentlemen, is this would be an extremely, extremely traumatic experience if you got bit by a satyr and you start turning into one. You're like, oh my God, I'm a satyr now, and I'm violent, and I'm whack, and I can't behave myself. And this poor guy, I saw this episode when I was little. It was like the fall of 1987, I think it was, because I think I was watching it on Halloween. It was already dark outside, and it was Halloween. Let me just... it was dark outside and it was Halloween, and I have a vivid memory of this. It was like major nostalgia for me. And so Buck, let me just play the rest of this clip. This guy has some commentary during it too. I'm getting to a point when I play the second video about this because I'm going to make fun of somebody.
Now, Buck shows up, and okay, I didn't comment on the wig last time because I had a whole lot of stuff to explain, but holy crap, he's wearing a full Michael Landon wig right now. Anyway, Buck rescues Delph.
It's a good description, Michael Landon wig. Continue.
The two satyrs snap
See,
out.
that's what Buck is turning into right there. Those fucking guys with the furry legs. They're all fucking being uncivilized dipshits. They're like dogs playing with one another, and then they're like, oh, he's getting away. Stop. Let's stop fighting and let's go get Buck.
And start chasing after him. Meanwhile, back at the Samos household...
Go, Siren.
Okay, so that's the satyr that bit Buck and caused Buck to turn into a fucking satyr.
Boy, leave with that man.
Oh, yeah, see, he's got the good advice, too. This guy wants to help his wife. Even in his deranged state of mind as a satyr, he's like, leave with that man. He's talking about Buck. This is all very traumatic, like I told you.
That's how it's going at the Samos
You don't want to be a satyr.
So Buck is running back with Delph, and...
Where's Cyrus? He's not inside.
That I love, too. That Buck is... his voice became like this.
The house, Buck.
The house? But that's where Buck planted all those explosives. Man, if this is the first time you're watching one of these, I am so sorry.
It's all right. It's Jason again. He remembers.
All right, let's get on a shuttle.
I kind of like how being a satyr just means you kind of turn into Nick Nolte.
Okay, so that's the satyr, and that was the end of that particular clip, okay? So you get a little sense for the story, just a little bit. And so here's the point. I'm gonna open up this second clip I have that has commentary, and I have a fucking bone to pick with so here's the satyr again. Let's open this up.
Oh, Wilma, I haven't seen you all episode.
Oh, should you sat with me every night? Not a bad way.
And this is after Buck's ordeal on the planet being the satyr. He's all fine now, thank goodness. Imagine again what that would be like being a satyr and thinking you're going to live the rest of your life like that. Super trauma.
Alone, is it?
Oh, yeah, but your methods are a little extreme.
Well, you wouldn't believe what I went through on Arcadis. Running around with horns on my head like some creature out of Greek mythology. It was incredible.
Sounds to me like your true nature was finally showing
So
through.
she takes that as an opportunity to banter, to make fun of him, like, oh, that's your true nature. Talk about misandry, Wilma. That's not very nice. After going through that experience, I would expect so she thinks this is funny, and she's flirting with him. Aren't you a little bit afraid that Buck will give you, like that you'll be a satyr, or that there's some kind of residual God knows what after Buck was a satyr, and that you'll get sick? And so, like, she's flirting with him still, like she wants to F him. And they've had their moments in the show where they're hooking up. And so she's picking on him right now. This is true man hate. I swear it's man hate.
I mean, there are 3 moons on Arcadis, aren't there?
And excuse me, though. Erin Gray is her name, the actress's name. And I have been smitten with her ever since I was a little kid. Super hot. I have pleasured myself to her when I was younger. That's not a lie, because she wears these tight-ass clothes that look like super tight satin on the body or something. Gorgeous woman. Madly in love with her. And she seemed like a nice lady in real life when I saw her on The Tonight Show. Let's continue.
That joke I didn't understand.
Me neither,
Guess
dude.
that was foreshadowing?
And we all know how you are in the moonlight.
Oh. Wilma, you silly bitch. Oh, man, that soundtrack, too. Nostalgia City.
That's the end.
Yeah, that's the end of the Satyr.
I'm sure the next episode won't be problematic at all.
Okay, thank you, sir. So I just wanted to pick on Buck a little bit. He took that from Wilma when he should have been like, you know what, you insensitive bitch. I got bit by that guy. I became a freaking monster, and you're acting like it's a joke? It's not a joke to me. If you went through a traumatic event like that, I would be like emotionally supportive. I'd say, are you all right? Sir, do you feel all right? Do we need to take you to sickbay and have you checked to make sure you got all of that satyr shit out of your system? I know you're going to have to get that satyr shit out of your system if you want to fuck me. Jeez Louise, Wilma. See, I don't always talk about Manosphere here. I want to take some of these old programs where it's like you were dealing with true men, true alphas, true masculinity early on before it all the world went to hell in a motherfucking handbasket. And I want you to enjoy history, and especially contrast history with extremely fucked up contemporary American reality. You know what it's time for? It's time for this right here. This is a whole other thing I do that I copy. And I do want water right now. That's not a joke. But hey, Mike, this is about you too. Ah, delicious water. I hope there's no fluoride in it. I want to ask, actually, when I go fill up my gallon thing, I want to be like, do you guys filter this water at all? Does it go through, aside from the little super lights you shine on it to kill bacteria and stuff, is there fucking fluoride in here? Because I don't want that shit. I don't need that shit. I don't want your fucking fluoride shit, motherfucker! Yes, much needed. I can hear myself swallowing the water in my head, but I don't think it's picking up on here quite the same way as if you were hearing it from within my head. I need that microphone in my head so you can hear it. But if you want to know that sound, just go listen to Pearl eat some fucking nuts and potato chips and drink water on some stupid, boring video she does. Okay, this is interesting. We're coming to something new here. Let me just open this right the F up. Yes, sir, Michael. I'm going to a Michael Sartain clip, which I believe comes from Access. I want to say Access Hollywood because there's something called Access Hollywood. It's Access Vegas, and Rollo's here. I'll bring them over here, and I'll put this up here for you guys. And I want to check the resolution on here, see if it's alpha resolution. Yes, 1080p. That's alpha resolution. Have at it, gentlemen. I do have things to interject to this.
Do about it. Like I'll be honest with you. I like honestly what Ray Kurzweil.
Why do you think we're doing?
Ray Kurzweil's book
Like the world
just
ending?
ended it for me. Have you read the Singularity is Near?
Yes, I'm interested. I was just like immediately like, oh shit, he brought up Ray Kurzweil's The Singularity is Near. I have read that book, and he's like Michael seems like he wants to jerk off and orgasm to it, and I'm like, I was riveted and I was mortified by so many different things in that book. But let's continue.
Your next two books, The Singularity is Near, The Singularity is Near by Ray Kurzweil.
Okay.
In the future, when we
yes,
have
I second
AI
that recommendation, because for people who have great minds, enlightened minds, you're going to be like, holy fuck with all of this shit. That's extremely freaking disturbing. Like, what? All these things in this book are disturbing. Let's hear more.
is good enough to where you can't tell the so meaning like an actual android that can pass the Turing test and men can have sex with it, right? It's all over. You've already got fans that are having sex with Transformers now, right?
This is the shallow outlook of the book. Like, okay, fine, men having sex with that's like a boring side note compared to so many things in this book and the implications of the things in this book about the future of humanity.
Yeah. When that happens, they're not going to need... They're not going to need... So here's the thing. When you think about our ancestors 100 years ago, bro, why do you shave so much? You're in the shower. You shower every day. You brush your teeth. They would look at us like, what a bitch. Ew. You guys are so weak. I can't believe you eat. You have all your teeth. You guys are fucking weak. 100 years from now, we're going to be looking at like our kids like, you guys fuck robots? Yeah. That's so weird. But to them, it won't be weird because you want to know what the alternative is? Women who don't accept them.
He just
Women who said that.
One of the things, so notwithstanding some of the true implications of what he's talking about, what he gets wrong here, and what I noticed immediately is, Honey Bunch, Michael Sartain, I'm not condescending to you when I say this because I'm disturbed. I've thought a lot about these things. I'll bet you I read that book before you, and it's been stewing in my head for years. It's going to be a lot sooner than 100 years from now. It's going to be within your lifetime. Some of what you're talking about right now, within 20 to 25 years, there's a serious problem I see with people who are trying to kill off 90% of the populace, and that would include you. Yes, the timeline is what I'm objecting to there. Michael Sartain has it in his head that it's like 100 years into the future. Have you noticed how crazy fast things have been changing? And I already think a lot of technology was already developed before that book, and it's just becoming public knowledge now. Troubling, sir. Don't say 100 years again, or I'm going to have to say no to that again. Don't say 100 years from now. I think he does. Let's see.
Down on them. You don't make enough money. You're too short. And they're going to grow up and they're like on their 16th birthday, they get two fucking Playboy bunny robots and they start fucking them. Then one day they go out to the club after when they're in college and they have to talk to a real woman and be like, it was nice to meet you. Thank you for the drink. And walks the fuck off. They're like, I'm going to go fuck my robots. I'm going to go.
My robot is programmed not to talk back. And, you know, I'm aware that there are very lifelike sex dolls. And I've seen pictures of these sex dolls before, and I'm like, oh my God. And I saw a documentary, I want to say it was on Real Sex on HBO, and these guys had these sex dolls, and they were saying how it very much is like having a woman, except you can do whatever you want. She doesn't complain, she doesn't whine, she moans, she's ready in an instant. And it kind of tricks your mind when you're doing the sex doll because they feel so lifelike, the way they look, the way they're flesh to the touch, and the way the boobs bounce around and the way the face looks. They even have these dolls that make facial expressions now, and we're talking about high cost dolls. They cost several $1,000s to get into anything like that. And there's that part of me that was like, gosh, I think I want to have one of those dolls around. You know, you get that satisfaction without all the headaches. But then you have someone come over and they discover the doll and they either think you have a dead cadaver and they'll call the police, or they'll think, God, what a pervert, he has a sex doll. So I'm wondering, I swear I would like to know, I just want to know if the sex doll on the show whatever, the one with the blue hair, I want to know if someone has had sex with that doll. Someone should ask Brian the Week that question directly. I want to know, has someone fucked your fucking sex doll? Reasonable enough for me to ask.
The robots!
The population's going to end up plummeting at some point.
Look at these ladies here. Let me just take a look at them. Oh my, what's up with this one? Is it like the facial expression right here? Something doesn't quite look normal there, okay? She's got a pretty something. There's something artificial in these faces, though, here. Do you see what I'm saying? There's some kind of injections, and I wish women wouldn't do that because it's insecurity-based, and you don't realize that. I look at this woman, and I'm looking at a woman that I think was probably born with perfect beauty, but then she reached a certain age where she's like, oh, I don't look young anymore, but you're not understanding what probably became beautiful, distinguished-looking womanhood with you. You took it and interpreted it and perceived it as insecurity and wanted to go puffing up your face, whatever the hell you did, and you still have a pretty likeness to you. This lady over here has a pretty likeness. I don't see much meddling in the face. I think her hair color is totally artificial, and I'm not seeing any tattoos, no signs of red flags there, gentlemen. I kind of like these. These look like mic stands. Okay, their mic stands are kind of like mine. I always observe like that. And so they take the water bottles and they take the labels off the water bottles. I find that interesting. Not quite sure they feel the need. Well, because it's ugly, for one thing. If you leave the labels on there, that's ugly. I prefer this white cup to the shitty-ass, butt-ass, disgusting cups on whatever. Anything else I want to point out here? Access Vegas. I thought that was cool. I like how they have this street sign here, Access Vegas over there. That's cool. It looks like it's displaying on a digital frame, a digital picture frame of some kind. Here's Rollo's book. And you see, I'm a man who notices the imperfections. Do you see this cable here? That fucking annoys me. Like maybe, but I also am man enough to admit if this cable enters here to the side of this to power this frame, it might be hard to get rid of. I've had issues like that before. Anything else I want to mention? Anything else I noticed that I mentioned? I don't know what this is. It looks like Cobra from what's that? Cobra G.I. Joe. That's what I feel like that is back there. I don't know. I'm just looking. I'm analyzing every little thing here. I like the accent lights on the wall. I like her midriff down here. That's nice. Is there anything else I can gratuitously talk about? I like that the headphones they're wearing, the cable type down here is that kind that stretches. That's helpful so you don't easily get fish-lined and jerks your head. And I've done that before when I'm recording. I'll stand up and I'm standing on the cable and my head is like, "Urgh!" And I'm like fucking instantly pissed. Let's continue.
So that's one half of it.
I think most.
He says the evolutionary psychology thing back here. He has a Dallas Cowboy helmet, evolutionary psychology, and by David M. Russ. I looked that up and I thought about buying that. I think I still might have it in my wish list. And he has a basketball up here. Okay. All these manly things. I like the texture of the background. I like the accent light that brings out the edges on that background and on the upper ones. So it's like you have a light from above hitting those edges from above. I notice all kinds of shit like that. And of course, I myself, I'm a fan of all the TVs around me, creating texture that can be dynamic, animated, playing video, whatever. And so I like that they have that treatment there.
But like a society has really done this to us. Right?
No, hold on. But here's the other.
Sometimes they have more intelligent women on here, and sometimes you're gonna get some duds.
The women are like, I hate men. They're just sperm donors.
No,
well, guess.
If I hear a woman referring to society, if I hear a woman I think is dumb say the word society. This is really sexist, and I will get the label. A dumb woman that says society is already like, I'm tuning her out. Continue.
You're not going to need in a few years when we start combining 23 alleles from two women together. Guess what? We're going to be able to create zygotes out of fucking two females. 23.
What he's saying is also, I believe, very true, and it's creepy. It challenges this is like evolutionary psychology. What about evolutionary biology? This is not normal, and those people might, in the beginning, that are born from that have serious birth defects or flaws in their system that where they get sick or have illnesses or they're susceptible to diseases that normal people are. And I just don't think it's going to be a perfect operation once this crazy shit starts. It's kind of a very interesting topic for these guys to be addressing this book, Michael Sartain. It's like, how long is this? What's in between here? What's he referring to when he does that like that? Oh, it's like putting those two things together.
Allele chromosomes, and we're going to have women actually having babies with women. It's going to fucking happen.
Men and men, too, I believe, right? Except neither of the men will be able to carry the baby. So they'll be able to create a zygote that has nothing to do with a sperm egg and then carry that baby to full term. This is just crazy mad science to me. And actually, I think it's an affront to God from people who are trying to be God. This is so biblical when you think about the devil tempting people in the Garden of Eden. Tempting Eve in the Garden of Eden.
Perfect.
And you're going to have two genders that don't need each other at all. When we get to that point, then we have a population crisis. Right now, we don't have a population crisis.
No, dude. Oh, my God. He's way off on that. Like, that is not the threat to the population. Right now, depopulation is the threat to the population. A deliberate campaign to depopulate is the threat to the population.
Look at Indonesia and Mexico. We do not have a fucking population crisis.
Not right now.
I'm Michael Sartain, and I want to try myself some carnitas with that yummy spike protein.
From us. So you better get your game right, because we don't want to be alone.
What's he talking about?
I really want that.
No, but
I'm talking over you.
Your question was, where are we going to be in 50 years?
Yeah.
I just told you where we're going to be in 50 years.
No, sooner than that. I'm telling you, your timeline is wrong, Michael. They're talking about regular human beings being extinct by 2050 because everyone's putting all this genetic modifying shit in them. Once you have no more original genealogy, what we are now is totally fucking extinct. That's extinction.
I don't think it's even 50.
The idea, the pervasive nature of pornography now. You legitimately believe once it becomes three-dimensional that men are going to do anything else? No. Bro, it's like you're fat and you live on your mom's couch and at least you have guys like me.
I can only enjoy sex so much. So yeah, I would be fucking a doll and I would find other things to do. And hopefully I'll be married and I won't have to fuck a doll. Or hopefully I'll have some woman around after I build my value here, picking on Michael Sartain for getting the whole timeline wrong for these technologies and the changes to culture and not really understanding the broader fucking implications for what we're talking about. Dude.
Make fun of you. Right. No one will make fun of you. You will be you'll have a foursome with hot chicks that change their features every day, and you'll fuck all of them on the fly every day.
Yeah.
You're going to be so consumed in it that you won't be able to work and support yourself.
Why would you need to support yourself? Your house is fucking 3D printed and your internet is free. Why would you support yourself? Your food is GMO.
It's interesting. In Ray Kurzweil's book, he does put it into, when you read it, it's like you get this feeling of, this is all the cool stuff on the horizon, people. Yay. It puts it in flowery terms, like this is going to be a wonderful utopia, but there is a dark side to all of this. There's so many things in that book where there is a manifesting fucking horrendous outcome for the nature of humanity, the human experience, as if it hasn't been compromised horribly enough already. Ray Kurzweil puts a bow on it and makes you think it's going to be cool when he's one of the people, I think, who wants to live forever and fucking exterminate most of the people in the world. I'm just saying, I think that's the whatever.
Makes any fucking difference. You want to know what we're going to be? That is what we're going to be. And the other thing, the AI thing, always, oh my God, the AI is going to take over. The day the AI takes over, you're going to be living in your holodeck, happy as shit, eating the food that you want, with
Not
the fucking
a
illusion of the
No. The day AI takes over, people are going to be still in goggles, and they're going to be like confined to small areas where you're not allowed to leave. And even you, Michael Sartain, I'm not ripping on you right now. I'm just saying you will not have those options anymore. Those will be gone. That's what we're dealing with in reality now. Like, there won't be holodeck. There will be fucking goggles. They're not going to fucking take all the time and resources to build a holodeck to imprison some fucking people that are cockroaches to them. They're going to keep very few people around who are like genderless. And what is it when you say like a society is I'm missing a word right now that I use all the time. Crap, I'm missing a perfect word to describe this right now. A monoculture where everyone is just mundane and the same, and there's no distinguishing personalities. They will like evolve out of humanity, these individual ways of expressing oneself. It's going to be homogeny. It's going to be an extremely dull fucking homogeny, and they're not going to give these people like a rich tapestry of entertainment. It's going to be very limiting so that it keeps them confined in a fucking mental social culture that keeps them easy to control. Bing, 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 bing. Read this fucking book. I'm making some fucking sense here, whether you like it or not. Dude.
Body, the happiest day of your life, the AI will take over, and you won't give a fuck. Well, that's how this thing is going to end.
But if you can't tell the difference, does it really matter?
If you can't tell the difference, does it really matter?
Even as a model too, like with a new AI, it's going to be beneficial in some sort of form. Because if you look at it, like
not for the average individual, it'll be sold with the idea of convenience. Like they're all thinking that it's going to be there to serve everyone. No, it's actually going to be there to serve the elite and create a neo-feudalistic system where we are the fucking paupers and they are the fucking super controllers, making our lives hell, erasing fucking depth from the human being. What a boring fucking scaring world and future we have ahead of us.
Experiencing, I don't know, using an Oculus or whatever, and you could be the model. Like it's beautiful in a way.
Dude,
but I mean,
listen, the whole you saw what happened.
You're pretending. It's so much of what society is living right now is living in pretend. Pretending things aren't true pretending things are true and they're not true is a fucking scary psychological trap. It is like it's glorifying delusion for your fucking entertainment. And it's cute when little kids do it, like when a little girl is playing, what do you call it? Let's play, have tea time. And you sit down, and my daughter used to do this when she was little. We'd sit at a table, and she would like pretend to pour tea, and so that's all very cute when little kids do that because they're learning and they're imitating and they're growing. But you don't want adults who are obsessed with the pretend life. You don't want to enable and affirm delusion that is innately, objectively, truly delusion. That's bad for society. That's a recipe for fucking societal downfall.
Happened when Coconut Kitty 143, she killed herself 2 weeks ago.
What?
Yeah, Coconut Kitty 143, she obviously put the face of a 12-year-old over her face. Have you seen this before? No. So she basically has like this porn star body, and her face, she changed. She's a very pretty girl, but she would put a 12-year-old filter. If you go on Face app, there's a filter on there for old and young. She puts the young filter on her face, and she looked like a 12-year-old face with a 40-year-old's body, or with a 30-year-old body. Yeah, like Jessica Rabbit type of body, very curvy. And everyone said, you are promoting sex trafficking for children. And she's like,
I think that's accurate to describe it like that.
Oh, I'm not doing that. Well, it finally got to her, and she took her own life because she had continually seen like her fans. When I think she took a second to really look at her fans, it wasn't some of them were creepy pedophiles.
So
all of them were creepy pedophiles. Yeah. All of them that were willing to pay money to look at her.
You're bringing up something very important here, which is like people. We are in a new landscape with all kinds of new things, and maybe when she started that, it was a goof, and then all of a sudden you get down this path in life and you realize, oh my God, I've made a horrible fucking mistake, which I think a lot of people are doing in this crazy climate we are living in this world with all these crazy cultural things happening. And it can't merely be described as cultural, because I think cultural is something that's natural that occurs from an evolutionary standpoint, one thing, the next thing. But we are deliberately being corralled down this fucking path of chaos, and it's going to make everything unravel at some point. I can feel it right now, and it's happening very soon. There's a reason that 2030 is a key date that people keep referring to, because there is an agenda unfolding, and so it's happening with all sorts of other things I don't even want to bring up right now, because they personally make me very angry, because people, they're fucking lost. They are down a fucking path of delusion, and once someone goes too far down that path, they become hopeless, regardless of all the fucking reasoning. There is no reasoning that can be like an antidote to their delusion, because you get caught in this rabbit hole because your mind has been fucking raped. And I shouldn't go down that path anymore, because I will get angry. Let's see what I have next. What do I have next here for you, my friends? So yes, I will come here. This probably won't be bad. Start at 20 minutes. This is Rollo's.
Get the fuck out of here!
What? Hold on. I want to start at 20 minutes is what I said. Hopefully this is it. That was like 41 minutes, but I want to start at 20 because that's where he was saying something that I wanted to refer to. Bum ba da bum 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 over here. Here we are. Let's see if we have the manly alpha. Yes, 1080p alpha resolution. Go!
To social issues. You will see them interviewing people like, I don't know, Michael Knowles. You'll see ostensibly red pill manospherian shows interviewing people like Nick Fuentes or Kanye West or Milo Yiannopoulos. You're going to see people progressively shift and pivot over from manospherian, for lack of a better term, red pill subjects and topics when we're talking about intersexual dynamics to more culture war stuff, social stuff. Now, here's the thing.
I think the basis of what he's talking about here is how soon here, since we're going to be entering into the 2024 political season with the election of the president and whatnot, people are going to be they're going to be pivoting and grifting into the manosphere and these topics right now. And I think that's what he's saying. But there was something specific in here. Let me just keep playing it that I wanted to refer to and comment on.
Rocks at me, and I know you will, both in the chat and also probably in the comments, and most likely when I get clips out of this, people are going to go, well, what's wrong with the culture war? Well, how come it's not? Why are you so upset about the culture war? We need to fight the culture war. Save the West. Oh, be my guest.
Yes. Well, on some level, these culture wars will be our undoing, and that's kind of what I was just saying during those clips of Access Vegas with Rollo and Michael Sartain. Yes, we need to be very preoccupied. I need to be preoccupied with it as much as Rollo does, as any of these guys in the manosphere, because the implications for what is coming down the pike are much broader, and they require a certain degree of alarm for people to wake up and realize what's going on. It's important to all be on the same wavelength that needs to save us from some grim reality that's coming down the road. An outcome is what I wanted to say. A grim outcome is manifesting, and we all have to be fucking proactive and see eye to eye on it. Otherwise, all this division is just going to serve us like fucking fresh meat up to the platter to be fried and fucked.
Take that and run with it. But don't call it the manosphere. Take your culture war, take your ethno-nationalism, take your politics, take your ideology, take your religion, take your...
Don't call it the manosphere, because Rollo owns the manosphere. That's his thing. He owns red pill concept. It's only confined to that. You know, like I've said many times on many recordings here lately, it's not about the broad concept of objectivity with a great many things, awareness about a great many things, broader than the fucking manosphere, broader than the red pill. That's a good start for awareness. It's a great intellectual exercise to start somewhere. But we all have to be on the same page somewhere, somehow. And like, you just want to stay in your little niche, and you want credit for that niche. And here's why I wish I had your fourth book to wave in front of you. Like, what's happened here is we're not in a situation in the manosphere where it is, oh, do I want to go down this fucking rabbit hole right now? It's not the fucking femperative. It's not gynocentrism. It's transcended beyond that. The short while after you wrote that fourth book and articulated things so well about your perceptions having to do with where we are in the world of intersexual dynamics with women, you've articulated extremely well how in the sexual revolution women started taking over the power of the sexual transaction with birth control and people fucking and not being in marriage, and what started way back when with those cultural changes, which are they cultural changes if they're instituted as a means of manipulation from government agencies or people from high up wanting to change the whole makeup of society to dominate humanity? Look at this broad fucking perspective I'm bringing to this right now. My point being that it's become trans-centric, and trans-centric meaning beginning now with the transgenderism, the preface being transgenderism to a new fucking reality called transhumanism, the combination of human beings as silicone and biology becoming basically like cyborgs, plugging the brain into the net and having the body be like the final frontier, hackable, and where all your vital signs and who you are and what you're thinking will all be like discernible from AI systems. So don't just tell me, oh yeah, stay away from the manosphere. Don't be in the manosphere. Be fucking broadly aware of everything that's going on. We've transcended beyond what was in your book is the point that I'm making. What was in your book about women being the center of reality, kind of driving things. No, we are in the trans-centric era now. We've transcended beyond just the femperative era that you talk about, femcentric, gynocentric. It is now trans-centric what's happening. And it's the preface to a new reality with transhumanism. I'm serious, Rollo.
Your ethno, whatever, your race, whatever it is, good for you. Go for it. But my son, go forth and multiply. Vaya con Dios. Don't call it the manosphere.
Appreciate your fucking blessing, but no. Who's calling it the manosphere? I dip into these topics because they're very interesting, and just because I'm not... I joke about grifting in the manosphere, but I'm just a philosopher who wants to make commentary, and I don't have a huge following, and I'm gonna just fucking say whatever the fuck I want. And so, dude, but you seem very fucking hell-bent on protecting the manosphere, keeping it the manosphere, our close, tight-knit little... You can't do that in an entire world. The more people that wake up, the more people are going to want to start their own shows, add their own perspectives, and it's going to always get diffused. That's the nature of fucking reality. We had like 3 fucking major networks when we were little kids. Then we got cable TV. Then we got a million fucking internet channels. Where does it end? You're not going to be able to successfully confine what you're saying. And so you should embrace that. And you should see how you might be able to go down a path that yeah, you're helping men, you're helping men help themselves. I appreciate that. But there's much more to the broad perspective of what's happening, where if you and Michael and all the people in the manosphere don't get on board with what I'm saying, we are going down a perilous path, and there's nothing that's going to stop it.
Don't call it red pill. Well, red
don't
pill
call
just
it red
means
pill.
truth.
See,
Yeah,
I
well,
hate
okay.
that. I hate that's what all that I wanted to talk about. That he and Ryan act like they want to be the exclusive definers of this. What it is, it's going to get diffused whether you like it or not. So embrace the diffusion. Maybe there's even an advantage to you, if you think about it. How you might be able to pivot and change and become even bigger and better and make a better difference and better difference in the world. It's not that, and it's not a criticism saying you're not doing a lot of good work now and that it's not relevant to people. That's why I even tweeted once to Rollo and said, your next book should be about transgenderism. I mean, seriously, but he's right to be scared if you go down that path and you start pointing out objective reality to people who are very ideologically based. You will get canceled in 2 seconds. I've had a fun time here with you guys today. Do you know that? This was a good one. Silliness, and my mind was stimulated. I feel very sharp. I feel good about that. I can't complain. I'll talk more about how and why I should build this show to have more followers and why I'm not proactively doing that. I should remember to talk about that in the next one. So, I want to say that if you are watching and you like this, if you're coming back, I appreciate you liking the videos. I appreciate you sharing the videos. I appreciate you subscribing. Pay attention to what I'm doing. All right, this is it for me. It's Saturday. I'm out. Peace be with you all.